Hey there, YouTubes. This is Grimweird coming back at you with more Project Ozone 3 Kappa Mode playthrough action. So I've been pretty busy since the last episode, done a lot of stuff. So we'll sort of go through and recap what I've done real quick, and then we'll do a few things on camera. So let's see. I was trying to sort of look around and figure out where to go and what to do and what I had access to and what I didn't. Some of my favorite mods, like Mechanism, seem pretty darn gated. I think that's a ways off for us. Astral Sorcery is probably my favorite magic mod at the moment, and it seems gated. So I was getting a little frustrated with the gates, but I did notice that we got a few things in the Nether. So at the end of last episode, we went to the Nether. Actually, let's just run back over there, and I'll show you what I did real quick. I haven't done a ton over there. Did a little bit of exploring, did some vein mining, just explored. I've never been in Netherx before, so there was definitely some interesting stuff to find there. So I ventured out on top of this area. We're sort of on a big ledge here, a big sort of glacier, frostburn ice ledge here. I did break out the glider, and I flew over to that area because there was something that looked like it might be a spectral tree. It wasn't. It was a big glowing mushroom, sort of like those mushrooms over there. I've looked around a little bit here on top just to see what we're up against. Fought a few things up here. Our witherbone armor has taken a little bit of a beating. But so far it hasn't been anything too crazy. These guys scare me because I'm not sure how strong their... These black widows scare me because I'm not sure how strong their poison is, and I don't know that I want to find out. Where's my bow? So there's that guy out of the way. Oh, here's some more Landium. That's actually a good thing. So I did pick up some things. I picked up some Landium. So I wanted to see. I've heard that that's required to make the Landium portal. So I wanted to see if we could do that. Of course, we couldn't because we needed more stuff. And I picked up some tungsten and titanium ore. And that, hold on, I have to clear my throat. And that opened up some other stuff for us, some like immersive engineering stuff. Yeah, these guys creep me out. I don't even know what they do. I just know I don't want them anywhere near me. But you can see here I dug around, looked around. The good news is we've got another fortress right over there. And it seems like it's a pretty big one because if we come over here, we can see that it also sort of heads off that way. So I was trying to make my way over there, but we've got a lot of holes in our world here. So as you can see, if we come down here, there's a lot of space underneath us. So we're sort of on a ledge. Makes it hard to get around. Eventually I might just go ahead and glider over to that one, but I'm still not familiar with Netherx, so I'm still not sure how dangerous it is here. So I'm being a little cautious. So we might either make a stairway down to that level and then cross over, or we might glider over and then use our home command to get home. There are definitely plenty of wither skeletons over there, I've noticed. And I did a bunch of vein mining around here. It's probably sort of hard to tell where I vein mined, but I did vein mine a bunch. Got a few good things. The nether diamond ore was a welcome because I haven't gotten a ton of that from doing my sifting. But let's head on back. That sort of gives you an idea of what I did in the nether. The vein mining of netherrack has netted us a bunch of netherrack, which is cool. also picked up some saplings for some of this crazy wood. Again, I'm not familiar with Netherx, so I'm not really familiar with these trees, but I'm growing some of them. We got the bloodwood trees and the ghostwood trees. This is what the bloodwood logs sort of look like. I just threw some out to sort of give myself an idea if I want to use them for building material. And these are what the ghostwood ones look like. These look sort of interesting because the bloodwood is apparently fire resistant. I haven't tested that out yet, but I might make a little pool for them, or make a pool and put some lava in it just to make sure that's true. And if it is true, I might use that as some flavor around lava pools and whatnot. And also, of course, we've got a bunch of netherrack. So we've got a compacting drawer here with 4,600 netherrack, and I have sifted some of that. If we take a look at that, one of the things I was interested in sieving for was tungsten. So we've got some tungsten now, which has been useful in doing some of the immersive engineering stuff. I'll talk about that more in a bit. Some titanium, we got some of that. Iridium, we didn't get much of that, so I'm going to have to, it looks like, sift a bunch more netherrack if I want some iridium. And also we've got some gems. And as I think I mentioned last time, since the early levels of the Armor Plus armor progression are so wimpy, and also you have to repair them to upgrade them, I think I've been using this Witherbone, and it's okay. It's not great, but it's okay. It's been enough for these initial levels. I think we might make ourselves Sapphire Armor, because this is not part of the Armor Plus progression, and it's pretty nice. 8 and 1.25 of toughness in it. So when I do some more sieving, I may make a suit of that and enchant it. So what else? That sort of, I think, wraps up the nether excitement. So I was looking through mods trying to figure out what we could do and where we could go, and I started bumping a lot into needing treated wood, and therefore creosote to make treated wood was a holdup on a lot of stuff. For instance, I picked up some Landium, so it's like, oh great, I should make the Landium portal. And I actually had Enderium ingot thanks to my Enderium cow. I got Sapphire. We just picked that up from from sieving netherrack. Hop graphite. Well, you're not going to get hop graphite pretty easy. You basically have to. You could smelt hop graphite dust pretty much anywhere, but the hop graphite dust pretty much only comes from the manufactory, which we cannot make yet. It requires plutonium, which we don't have, and in-steel ingot, which we don't have, etc. So the only early game way to make it, to make hop graphite, HOP graphite, is the industrial squeezer. Then, of course, to make the industrial squeezer, I need a bunch of immersive engineering stuff, including, yes, treated wood and creosote. And then the only way to get the coke dust that we need to turn into the hop graphite dust is to actually, let's see, how do you get that? You can get it with a pulverizer, which we don't have one of those yet, but you can also get it with a crusher. Oh wait, what am I thinking? I'm having a brain fart here. Oh, that's right, I'm thinking we need coke dust, that's the thing. So if I click on coke dust, here we go. This is the recipe I'm thinking of. So the only way to get the coke dust to make the hop graphite dust is through the crusher. So at some point soon, we need to make a crusher, and since we can't make a manufactory yet, probably had to make an industrial squeezer, and of course we needed to make a coke oven to get some coke, and we needed some creosote and yada yada yada, because it seemed like every time I turned around and wanted to try something, whether it was AgriCraft crop sticks or whether it was anything else. I just kept bumping into the need for treated wood. The good news is that I'm actually familiar with immersive engineering, having used it in Enigmatica 2 Expert. So we just went to town and made a bunch of stuff. First thing is, that's a lot of big machines, if you're familiar with immersive engineering, and I didn't really have a lot of space to put them. So I had to open up another platform, another island. And I should also mention that in true Murphy's Law fashion, right after making a coke oven, I spawned a creosote cow. As one does, you know what I mean? Anyway, we've got 91 buckets of creosote here and a cow for more. So hopefully we're about done with the coke oven. So I moved the coke oven over here, or I put a coke oven over here, moved the alloy kiln over here. If this looks a little weird, it's embedded one into the floor. It's a 3x3 structure. I got my cow. I made an engineer's table because we're going to need the arc furnace reactor rods, and we needed these mechanical components are cheaper if you make them through the table. So we made some engineer's blueprints for those. This reminds me I got to go get an arc furnace blueprint out of my mom farm. We made a metal press because that makes getting all of the plates and wires and whatnot you get much easier. So we've set up a metal press. Most of you are probably familiar with the metal press, but it's only these 3 by 3 tall here, with some conveyor belts here. I'm using an item translocator, which seems to be working good. I originally put a hopper feeding into this, but it didn't want to spit out gears. It had a problem with putting out 4 ingots to make gears, so I changed to an item translocator, and that has no problem making gears. If you're wondering why I've got it up on bricks, it's not because I'm white trash. It's because I like to be able to see which press is up there, which shape. And I've got the other ones in here. And also it tends to be, there's less risk of me pulling the items off of the conveyor belt when it's up in the air like that. So now I can stand back here, throw stuff in there, and not worry about my magnet. So that's that. We have to power stuff, so we're finally getting into some powered things. I'll come back to the power in a second. Here's the crusher. We do have some things to do with the crusher. We need to make... oh, there's stuff in it. The sound comes and goes on this thing. It's apparently spitting out the last of some stuff that I put into it. Some sand. I put some gravel into it. I was making more sand. I can make these with, of course, with my hammer. And my hammer is now unbreakable, but, you know, it's just easier to, if I'm not in a hurry, it's easier to just throw a bunch of crap in here and let the crusher turn cobblestone into gravel, gravel into sand, sand into dust. Unfortunately, it will not turn netherrack into crushed netherrack, which really disappointed me, since that's one of the ones I really would like to do. But anyway, yeah, so basically this is your output down here, and then I just slapped a chest up here for input, and then just am funneling stuff in there. And one of the things we need to do, I talked about needing the crusher for coke dust. Well, here we go. I'm going to throw 96 coal in there, and it should start spitting out. As soon as it's done spitting out sand, it should start spitting out the dust for us. And then lastly, once we have that, we will be able to take that coke dust and use the squeezer to turn it into hop graphite dust. And so here we're just going to have a chest, which is going to go into the blue input thing. I think there's 2 of them, so there's one back here if you'd rather feed it from behind. And then it spits out if you're doing oils, if you're squeezing like plant oil, it'll come out here. And then again, the little copper dot, it means output. And if you're making the graphite dust, it'll come out into this. So it apparently has a big backlog of sand in it somewhere. Whoops. Shooting it probably won't help. But anyway, yeah, so I made this platform. We're going to have a big arc furnace here too. In fact, I've got everything we need to build it. Yeah, so let's go ahead and build the arc furnace. Go ahead and sleep and make it daylight. Oh, and I didn't mention a probably big glaring thing, which is I changed the floor. So I changed it to white concrete. White concrete can be made with like clay, gravel, and sand, I believe. And it gives you a run speed buff when you're running on it. So it's a great floor to have in your base once your base starts getting sort of big and rangy. Let's go ahead and, well, I'm going to pause. I got to look up. I got my stuff here for the arc furnace. Yeah, let me pause a moment because I need to remember how to build it. Let's talk about what is up with this. It's still pumping out sand. Alright, anyway, let's talk about power a second. So I've got an MV capacitor up here. It's at 1,000,000 IF capacity. And then if we hop up here, I guess I can't really look at it. Oh, I set one of them up. I set one of them up over here. That's right. So these are the Solar Flux Reborn, which is a mod that I'm not familiar with. Solar panels, and I took it up to solar panel 4, and that seemed like sort of a cool thing. And then I've got an MV capacitor under it. If we look at those, actually let's look at those in the quest book, if I can remember where they are. I was sort of looking through power options, and I sort of wanted to try something I wasn't familiar with. And I really like passive power production. So in other words, things that don't require fuel. Oh, goodness, I hate this book. I wish escape worked as a backspace. Let's see, so, oops, I didn't mean to claim that. Where are we? I have no idea where that solar flux stuff is. Alright, well, I guess we won't look at it here. Let's look at it at solar. Alright, so here it is. So basically that is a lot of glass for mirrors, and then wood. So making the tier 1s are really dirt simple. Unfortunately, they are only 1 FE or RF per tick, which is garbage. So the solar panel 2s require pistons and require a lot of the solar panel 1s. But once you get up to the piston mode, you're up at 8 FE per tick generation. That's still sort of garbagey. By the 3s, you're starting to actually, generate 32 FE per tick. That's, a noticeable amount for a lot of early machines. For, things like, immersive engineering and some other stuff that doesn't require a lot of power. Some of the entry-level generators and furnaces and whatnot. So that's some decent entry-level power. Now you're talking about blocks of iron. And a whole bunch of mirrors, because now you're looking at making 4 of these, which requires, now you're up to making like 32 of the ones that require mirrors. You got to make some of these guys, which require more mirrors, little lapis. So it starts to get a little noticeably expensive there. And then I took it one step further and made the panel 4s, which are now up to 128 FE per tick, and that's a respectable early game bit of power, and you get 2 of them. It's definitely enough to run most of the immersive engineering stuff and other early machines, tier 1 tech type stuff. Uh, and, and when you combine it with a capacitor so that you have a little storage buffer, and it also has an internal capacity of 2 million FE. So if I've got 1 million from my capacitor, my immersive engineering capacitor, and another 2 million in the panel itself, that's 3 million FE on tap. So I haven't really even had a problem with using it at night because I've got so much buffer between what's the buffer that's in the solar panel and the buffer on the capacitor. Now the arc furnace may challenge it. We'll see. I'm not sure how much power the arc furnace uses in this mod pack. But I did not take it up to the solar power 5s, and that is because I guess the main reason I didn't go up one more was because I was taking up a lot of redstone. At some step in here, Redstone Repeaters and pistons. I was taking up a lot of pistons, which takes up a lot of electrotine and red alloy. So at the time I was making these, 4 was about as far as I want to go, but I am looking forward to taking these further on up. And I do have considerably more redstone now, thanks to, in part, to my cow. So I have a destabilized redstone cow, which is sort of handy. Where's my bucket? Things have stopped spawning. I think I might be at my animal limit for this area, so I need to store some of these animals to get more. But I really like the redstone one because early on in the game, it's hard to get tons of redstone. But do I have anything in there? No. But what you can do is you can bucket the redstone into your smeltery, and so you can see it in there. Got 1 bucket. And if you go into an empty casting table, it will actually turn into a piece of redstone. And there's 9 redstone per bucket. So as we can see here, I've got redstone. And I've actually stolen a stack out of here. So that cow, and I've got this automated so you can see it going. So that cow has got me, a free few stacks of redstone, which in the long run is no big deal, but early game is actually quite handy. And I've got another 6 buckets over here, so that's another 54 redstone on tap. I had a tree fluid cow, and I got a second tree fluid cow, which makes me happy because I've got 2 of them. I can breed them. I can make a whole farm full of those. So once I unlock the ability to make some automated milking, farming, ranching type stuff, I can have a tree oil thing. I'm up to 128 buckets just from grabbing these guys every once in a while when I think about it. Tree oil, the reason I'm interested in that is, if we look at the uses, you can put that in a compression dynamo, and apparently, if I'm reading this right, 1 bucket of tree oil makes 400,000 RF. So that's a decent amount of RF, and if I can get enough of these cows and get some automated ranching of sucking tree oil out of them, then that's going to be an actually pretty darn nice power source for us. The compression dynamo, I have it up here, and it's not too horribly hard to make. Again, it's stuff that we need from Immersive Engineering, which is another reason I got into Immersive Engineering. So to make gears and to make these steel things, which are cheaper on a table, it only requires 2 plates and 1 copper, as opposed to here where it's 4 plates and 4 copper for a copper gear. So there's a lot of reasons to get into Immersive Engineering early. And I have another one of these here, so I'm going to use that to hopefully power some other stuff. What else? let's go ahead and get this out of the way. So another thing I wanted to do, we got Landium in the nether, and I was frustrated because I couldn't use it. Um, so we want to get these hop graphite. Oh, so I did actually make some hop graphite already. So I have put some coke coal through this successfully, once it's not jammed up with sand. So here's our coke dust. And then we can throw that coke dust in here in our squeezer. And now it can pull out and spit out some hop graphite dust. And what I need this whole big batch for is we need to make electrodes for the arc furnace. So I've got all the stuff to build the arc furnace here, but we need hop graphite to make the 3 electrodes to put into it. So we need about 60, I think we need a 96 to get 12 graphite dust. And then this 12 graphite dust we can then smelt into 12 ingots and make electrodes. So let's do that real quick. Let's throw that up there. Let's run over here and grab some, grab a blueprint. Now there's 2 versions of the blueprint. I'll grab both of them, just in case. Oops, run back over here. I hope you can notice how faster I'm running on this concrete than I was on normal stuff. If we come over here, you can see this is normal run speed. Oops, stop bouncing. So that's why I'm using that. Alright, so we got 12 hop graphite ingots from our 96 coal dust. And what am I doing? Where am I going? I don't know. Oh, I'm going here. Let's take out this blueprint. Let's make sure that these recipes are the same. They look the same, so... Alright, there you go. So just to point this out, you don't necessarily need this table. Oops. You can put them through here, but one safety tip is that they, if you build them through your rod mold on your stamping press, they come out at half damage. So don't do that. Build them this way instead. The only reason you would do that is if you don't have the blueprint for them, which in sort of more, in many other mod packs, you have to get the arc electrode blueprint from trading with villagers like machinists or electricians or some of the other immersive engineering style villagers, and you might have to trade a bunch with them to open up the arc electrode blueprint, and some of them may not have it, so it can be a bit of a pain in the butt to get the arc electrode one, which is why there's probably that recipe to make 50% strength ones there. But here we got those from loot bags, and they were easy peasy. I ended up actually deleting a dozen or so of them. So open your loot bags and you should get that. Alright, so now we actually have everything we need for the arc furnace. But I have to stop and think exactly where I want to put it now. I want to face it because I forgot to do that. So let me pause here and check the runtime, because I do want to do a few other things. And I'll be right back. Okay, I'm still not exactly sure how I want this to do it. It's a big 5x5 monstrosity, so I'm probably going to do it this way. I need to leave plenty of room around it in case I need to set up any kind of automation for it, which I probably won't, but I might. So, wow, it's just so big. That's what she said. Let's see. Guess I can do it. So the only thing I need access for the back for, I think, is power. I think power goes in through these spots, maybe. I did make another pole for relaying, a post for relaying. Go ahead and slap a relay on top of that. And I think I'm going to go ahead and connect up some. I've just been using MV stuff. Seems to be working okay. Can I reach? I cannot quite reach. Of course. Right there. To there. Keep stringing the power around. Alright, well I can always break it down and move it if I have to. Let's see. You could also make the holographic projectors to project this and get a better feel for it, but I'm a little too lazy to do that. Let's see if I bring the power in the back. I think I want it facing this way. If I need to do some automation, I can set that up on this side. Bring the power in the back. Okay, I think I have a plan. Alright. Pardon me, I've forgotten how this works, obviously. Pause, down, up. There we go. Alright, so on the bottom we need some scaffolding and a cauldron. I'm going to go ahead and, oh man. Go ahead and start at the back so I have a good feel for that. And that is steel sheet metal, and I'm guessing that's one of the heavy engineering blocks. Oh, nope, that's one of the light. Okay. So we'll grab some of this. And we'll go. Is that going to leave me enough room? We'll come out one more. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to throw a light engineering block in there. How do I like the look of that? Gives me enough room to get here. I could take the power down to like right in here-ish. I think I end up maybe needing a box there for some recipes to eject some sort of slag or something. I think that's going to do the trick. Oops. So let's see. We're going to pause this. Go up. Alright, so I need 1, 2. I think these blocks are the steel blocks. So 1, 2. And then we probably need a couple of steel blocks. And then slabs. Lots of slabs. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Fill this in with slabs. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so then we need. I think it's a scaffolding here, and the redstone engineering block here. And then more slabs, yes, maybe. That would make sense. Let's double check and make sure that looks right. Oh, nope, it's the cauldron. Another good thing of my vein mining in the Nether is now both my picks, the Luck 3 one and the Soak Touch one, are unbreakable. Yay, go team. Let's see, cauldron. Here we go. All right, I'm fairly positive we've got the first floor done, and it'll get easier from here. So now we're gonna build up more light engineering blocks, All right, so let's see. Let's do these. These are easy. Steel blocks go like that. We've got at least some light engineering blocks like that. The redstone block goes here. Let's see, around the back. Let's see, how many heavy engineering blocks does this thing take? 5. It's sometimes hard to see in the book which ones are heavy and which ones are light. So you sort of got to go by process of elimination. Have I done this right? 5 heavy engineering blocks. Okay, yeah, I got enough. Oh, I bet these ones are the heavy engineering blocks. Alright, so scrap that. Let's see. So we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright, that makes more sense now. And then, this is why you use the holographic projector, if I were too lazy to build it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Let's go ahead and do some blast bricks before we get too carried away here. Oops, not sure that's right. Let's see. This is probably a boring thing to show on camera, but may as well show that the struggle is real. Let's see, our 2 sheet metals go there and there. The middle one is 4, and then the top is 3. For the blast bricks. Alrighty. Need some stepping blocks here. Some light engineering blocks. The last 2 sheet metals go there. On the back corners. I love multi-blocks. Alright, and then got another 3x3 of this. And then we come up 1, 2, 3, 4. So our remaining these guys come up 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we got some scaffolding to go, and we're almost there. 4 scaffolding. Is that all that's left? Yay! We're getting there. Up here and grab these 2. That one. I think that's it. I hope so, because we're out of blocks. Not sure where you hit it. Probably the redstone. Or the crucible. The crucible. There we go. Beautiful. So this is where your products output. So that's where we will get... Oh, I sort of didn't mention why I was keen on building this. I was keen on building this because another mod that I'm familiar with and seems to be able to get into pretty early in this one is Ender IO. When I'm looking at a lot of the Ender IO stuff, it doesn't seem too hard to do. Like the basic chassis for simple machines is electrotine. We can make that. Red alloy and grains of infinity, we can do that. Iron bars, no problem. And then if we look at some of these machines, like one of the ones that I was looking for were, like getting into the simple alloy smelter, or even the alloy smelter. Tungsten we have, dark steel we can do, vibrant metal gears we can sort of do in the smelter. It's not easy, but we can do it. So a lot of that stuff we can do, and there's a lot of good stuff in Ender IO, and I'm familiar with it, which helps me out because there are so many of these mods that I'm not familiar with, like Embers Rekindled, which I am looking forward to learning. But one of the things that gates a lot of this is electrical steel. So if we look at a lot of the recipes that I wanted to make in Ender IO, they require electrical steel ingots. You can cast it, but there's no alloying of it in the smelter, and no melting of it, and etc. So we either need an alloy smelter, which I think requires... Well, we could have gotten there, I guess. Yeah, we could have gotten there. So I guess we didn't need the arc furnace, but the arc furnace will get us there faster, and it also can make electrical steel. So this is sort of one of the reasons I wanted to go ahead and do this, is because this will give me a good way to make electrical steel as I'm working up through Ender IO, because I think there was some sort of roadblock or some sort of pain in the ass for making decent amounts of electrical steel to getting to this good alloy smelter. Maybe it was just the sheer volume of garbage I had to wade through to get there. Anyway, bottom line is, we now have one. So now if we click on this and open this, we can put our 3 electrodes up there. They will wear down over time, but they don't wear down that fast. So that should be fine. We can power this bad boy. So I think that is a power plug there. And we are powering up. It holds 64,000, and it filled up real quick. And again, we've got 3 million between the 2 million buffer on our solar panel and the 1 million buffer on our MV. You can see our capacitors filled back up already. And can I do there? So now you can see that there's the 64,000 came out of our solar panels storage, And since it's night, it's not filling up again. But let's take a look at that real quick and just see how fast that fills up. So we're looking for 64,000. Ooh, some lag. And there you can see it's filling back up at a decent rate. So I think we're going to be fine. We may chug out on some power a bit there, but on the whole, this is good news. So basically what you can do is you can just sort of pump items into, let's see if we go back up top. These blue dots, you've got blue dots, a variety of blue dots up here, which allows you to have different feeds for different types of materials. Or actually, I think maybe just, I think this whole top layer might be able to be input to. I generally just input it to this spot right here, but I think you can input it to damn near anything up there. Sort of like how I've got the crusher stuff going into the side here. You don't have to drop stuff in the top. You can just feed it straight into the side. I think you can just feed straight into the side of this part of it. I'll play around with that to try and minimize stuff. But that gives me the chance to do some automation. I can, set up an inner chest here to collect stuff that I want to recycle if I'm doing recycling, and I can feed that up in there and yada yada. And then things will spit out the front here, so we'll slap down a chest there for now. So that'll be our output, and then you feed things feed in here. Your output feeds in there. Some recipes have like catalysts or what have you. This can now make our red alloy ingots. That's the other reason why I wanted to do this. So now I can use this stuff to much more quickly make red alloy and I assume electrotine. Maybe not electrotine. For some reason. So we do have to keep the alloy kiln up and going just for the electrotine, apparently. At least until we get the alloy smelter from Ender IO. But we're working on that. And I got some room back here. I think some recipes will output some slag or something here. We can go ahead and put another chest there if we do any of those recipes. So we're good to go. We can throw a lever on there and a lever on there to turn them on and off. Not that I ever really need to turn these on and off. So there you have it. We are in business. And there's probably a few more things. I might do a little bit more immersive engineering, maybe some power generation over in this area. I only made it 2 chunks wide, which should be plenty for all these big machines. So let's talk about what else I did in between episodes. When I started building this, I started feeling annoyed by how much running around I was doing. I made a bunch of white concrete, so I've got 17 stacks left after using a ton of it. I'm making that, hydrating that through here, so you just put the white concrete powder. If we take a look at that, white concrete powder is just sand, gravel, and bone meal. We've got tons of bones coming out of our mob farm, so that's not a big deal. And then you can just hydrate it through here, just like you would turning dust to clay. So again, we're just pumping. We've got constant water going into this wooden barrel from our sink. And then you just sort of hopper in the dust to make clay or the white concrete powder to make white concrete. And then we were shipping that out to here. So yeah, piece of cake. But yeah, I started to realize that I'm starting to really sprawl. If we look at our journey map, I've already got, a sort of pasture over here, which no longer is producing animals, possibly because I have too many in this area already. We got our mob farm, we got, this base, we now expanded over here, some immersive engineering platform, we got our gate platform over here. Things are starting to get a little crazed here. I wanted to sort of make all of this sort of temporary and then set up a real base with some interesting architecture and interesting style, but we're sort of getting away from that already. So I dug down and have started making a real base down here. And I sort of decided to go down instead of up. I'm going to make this enclosed, so it's going to act sort of like an underground base, but we are going to put walls and a roof on this, and then we're going to start building off a whole bunch of rooms and stuff off of this area. Might split this up into different rooms, and we're going to decorate it. And in some places we might have windows, or we may actually just pretend that we are in a hostile dimension and replace the windows with some sort of wild fluid, like maybe put something like, what was I thinking? Maybe like enchanted metal. Do something like this. Make occasional little portholes out that show this, and then pretend we're in some sort of wacky dimension, and then make sort of a magical industrial feel for the base, and make it feel like it's sort of in space or underground or in a sea of enchanted metal in some weird dimension. Because I just got doing an above ground base, and that way we will then be able to turn this up here into mostly just crops and pastures and grasslands and maybe astral sorcery, and not have tons and tons of stuff on this level. So that's what's going on there. And now, the last thing, I think the last thing we want to do is, I did go ahead and make, I'm going to be making an energetic infuser. Now I have all the stuff for that so that we can power some stuff. Power our dark bow, power maybe a sword, power a few other things. We'll probably make the builder's gadget tools because I'm getting sick of building with just a builder's wand, and then be able to power them. So that's what I'm going to use this second solar panel and MV capacitor for. So we're going to put an energetic infuser here and begin powering all the things, and start making ourselves some gadgets, because I love me a good gadget. And then the other thing I wanted to do, as soon as I got Landium in the Nether, I wanted a Landium portal, and that's one of our early quests in Alpha. After the Nether, Landium. So we got that, so I wanted to make that. That involved, I had killed at least one ancient golem, possibly two, in the hunting dimension, and that involved me figuring out what to do with Embers Rekindled. And it actually looks like a fun pack. I've never played it, so I'm looking forward to it. But we had to make a Dawnstone Aspectus, which involved pouring molten Dawnstone, which is just gold and copper, so that's no big deal. But we had to pour it on a Ember Shard. And the Ember Shards basically come from sluicing archaic bricks. So I did make a sluice box, and I took some of the archaic bricks that I got from killing an ancient golem in the hunting dimension. I made it into one of these, and it gives you a 100% chance of 4 of those. So I got one of those. So that's how I made this bad boy. Unfortunately, I got plenty of drops. I don't know if I killed one ancient golem or 2, but I got plenty of drops to make this non-stone aspectus, so that was not bad. You can see what we're doing for hop graphite. I had an Enderium cow, but if I didn't have an Enderium cow, I think I could have maybe alloyed it, or maybe not. Maybe we got a little lucky getting the Enderium cow. Oh yeah, here we go. Lead, platinum, and resonant ender in these smelteries. So we could have gotten Enderium without the cow. Good to know. And of course the Landium we got in the nether. So we made this guy, and it says, once placed a few blocks above ground, activate by killing an undead mob in the vicinity. So to get an undead mob, I have some of these empty soul vials that I've killed the shulkers out of, and I got those from epic and rare loot bags. I got a few shulker soul vials, and we killed a couple of those, and I've been using those to move animals around and what have you. So for a zombie, this is all closed up. My mob farm's all closed up. So I went to the hunting dimension. If you recall there, I've stolen all the dirt underneath the grass blocks. So basically, I just opened up my map, turned on monster icons, sort of like we got the cow icons over here, and I ran through the dirt until I was underneath a zombie, and then I broke the grass block, and he was standing up above going, dude, what? And I grabbed him with a soul vial. So that was easy peasy. So let's go ahead and go over here and see if we can activate this portal. So I've got it set up here. I put it on a post since I was making posts anyway for Immersive Engineering. I think I'm just going to make a little cage for him here real quick, just so that he doesn't wander off. I don't know how close he needs to be. I don't know how close he needs to be for us to get credit for killing him here, but I want him within at least a few. So there's our zombie. And we'll just whack him. And there we go. We have activated it. Oh no. Yeah, I shouldn't have vein mined with that because I just got rid of my a whole bunch of my border. Alright, I'll fix that later. Okay, so we got one of these. I don't... Let's see, let me pause here and check the runtime. I think we're already probably at time or overtime. Let me pause and check. Okay, we've only got a few minutes left probably for this episode, but I do want to get through here and at least show you guys my first ever version into Landia, or trip to Landia, so that way you guys can sort of see my approach and, or, you know, see my landing more than approach. And we'll see if anything crazy happens. And that way, in between this episode and next, I can do a bit of exploring and mining in Landia, because I want to see what kind of stuff we can get. Because I think there's more gating ores and whatnot that we need to go mine. So with that said, don't really want to do a lot of fighting necessarily. So I got my hang glider so we can jump if necessary. I'm going to leave my boots on in case we fall off of something. Got my bow and arrow. As I do always when I go to a new dimension, I want to make that's hostile. I want to make a pillbox real quick. Is that enough? I'm not sure that's enough. Enough stone. Now let me pause here. I'm going to grab some more cobblestone of that type and be right back. So another thing I did in between episodes was I did finally figure out what to do with the Tinker's Construct Chisel. So basically I've gotten it now unbreakable. Is it unbreakable? Yes, it is unbreakable. And then I also put the, what's it called? The eye modifier on it, which was a plate and some redstone, like cast and some redstone. and that gives it the same interface as the eye chisel. But you do need to add some extra um, height and width modifiers to it to get it to do a bigger area in the wood. But what it does allow us to do is things like this, and it's unbreakable. So yay. Alright, that's enough of that. So we got that, we got plenty of that. Let's go ahead and give ourselves some more room here. Go ahead and do this. Get this out. Sorry, I'm being a little paranoid, but I've never been in this dimension before. I'm not exactly sure what we're up against. I saw like briefly a little bit, and I think Hypnotized playthrough several weeks ago, but I don't really remember, and I figured I would surprise myself and not go back and look. So far, so good. Whoa! That zone back is fast, which I guess is good for a quick escape. Flowers, yay. Could use that for some dye. It doesn't look like anything is really ready to attack us just this instant. Actually looks very nice and pleasant here, which somewhat surprises me, but just to be safe, I'm going to build this. If this is someplace we end up spending a decent amount of time, I will go ahead and oh, there's something over there that doesn't look good. A wizard. Yeah. Let's get a couple blocks between him and us. Again, I don't know how tough things are over there. We might be spending a decent amount of time here. It looks like there's plenty of stuff that I would like to harvest. We got some canola. We got plenty of flowers for dyes. So there's probably going to be plenty of things I want to do here. In addition to, of course, kind of biomes we got here. Dunnan's region, Tunis. Looks like Tunis was the place to be. I don't know what that stuff is, but it looks so nasty. So we may have gotten a lucky spawn in here. But yeah, let's just keep building this up. I need to fight the Wither boss and get a Nether star so we can make an unbreakable Nether wand. That would be nice. Or a builder's wand, I mean. That can do the surface and has all the modes. All the modes. So for now, we're just going to make a generic pillbox here. If we decide we're going to spend a lot of time here, we will, of course, build ourselves a nice little house here. There are critters about, even though it's daytime. I don't know if there's any flying bad things in here or any things that could climb walls like spiders, but just to be safe, I'm going to take this up a little higher. The neighborhood is definitely getting a little bit more crowded with monsters. Mostly zombies, so not too worried yet, but we'll see. Some skeletons. Whoa! Alright. Be that way. Yeah, I see you, buddy. We'll get you. We'll fix your little red wagon here soon. I think for now we're just gonna throw this over here. I don't know if we can actually stop things from spawning, but just in case, let's go ahead and try and get some things up here so things won't spawn on our roof. hopefully. Alright. Well, okay, I think our episode's about done. I'm going to do some exploring here, both above ground, and then we'll also dig down and go underground and do some mining. I'll open up a big mine in here. I have a feeling I'm going to do a ton of mining here, because one of the things I don't have a lot of is smooth stone, and I don't want to have to, like, make it all. So what I'll probably be doing is a lot of silk touch vein mining of cobblestone, or, to get smooth stone. So yeah, when I come back next episode, I'll show you how far I got, show you anything interesting I find. But for now, let's head on back, and mission accomplished. It does drive me a bit nuts to not be able to get places, so I am going to take a look at, I think the next place we want to try and get to is the Twilight Forest. But if we take a look at that, I don't even know where Twilight Forest is in here. Is it this one? Yes. So for this, it's the normal flowers around a 2x2 pool, but then we need a glimmer crystal. Alright, so we're going to need to figure out, I have never used Embers Rekindled before, so we're going to need to figure out Embers Rekindled before we get to the Twilight Forest. So I'll probably work on that in parallel with looting all of Landia in between this episode and next. So hopefully in next episode I can once again walk you around what I've done in the base, and then hopefully if I've successfully done some Embers Rekindled, then hopefully we can go visit the Twilight Forest and establish a beachhead there. With that, I am probably over time, so I'm going to end right now. I'm going to do some more thinking with what I'm going to do down here. Still trying to decide on architecture style and accent colors. I sort of am thinking of maybe, well, anyway, I'm not sure yet. There's tons of stuff to do. I don't have access to a lot of the cool blocks that I would like. Embers Rekindled has some pretty cool looking blocks, so maybe I'll get some there. Britannia has some cool metamorphic stone and whatnot. So I gotta look through all the blocks that are available, which stairs are available. That often will dictate how cool you can make some stuff look. Oh, Abyssal Craft, that's the one. Abyssal Craft has some good looking stairs and stuff. I like this stone. That looks like it might be a good looking stone. I haven't seen it in real life, so I'm not sure. But yeah, Abyssal Craft. I'm not sure how long it'll take us to get there. Metamorphic stone is similar though, it looks. But I'm not sure how hard it is to get to Britannia. I'm hoping there are some Britannia flowers in Landia, so we can get moving on that. Embers Rekindled has some sort of interesting stuff. Yeah, so we'll just have to figure it out. But stairs and slabs and blocks and whatnot, just figuring out what's available for decoration and what works good and what I have access to. For right now, we're probably going to go with concrete floors just because I'm addicted to this run speed. But we shall see what we would do with the walls and ceiling and corridors and whatnot. And I also probably need to look at some site-to-site teleportation. It's another reason to get into Ender IO. Maybe we can set up that teleportation. I haven't used that in forever. Anyway, I'm babbling. That's the kind of stuff that's coming up. Some Embers Rekindled, some more Immersive Engineering, maybe starting some Ender IO, some exploration of Landia. That's what's coming up in the next, in between this episode and next, and during next episode. So I'll talk to you later. Bye.